Good morning, Earlhamites. It's hard to imagine that we're already nearing the halfway point for our first fall term, but it's true, midway next week. In these first 3 weeks of the new year, I'm reminded of how fortunate I am to belong to a special place like Earlham that emphasizes the values of integrity, respect for persons, and community. These values, this commitment to everyone's success, allows us to continue to offer the fully in-person living and learning experience our students want and need to prepare for what comes next in their life. The best indicator of that care and commitment is the 95% vaccination rate we have for Earlham students and for our employees. So that's only a small number of medical and religious requests for exemption. Other than that, everybody's vaccinated, taking care of each other. So while we continue to operate as close to normal, whatever normal means anymore, as the situation allows, many of our friends in education have not been so lucky. As Chris Little, our Director of Public Safety, reminded us in his weekly COVID update yesterday, area schools are reinstituting mask requirements or pivoting to virtual modes of learning as cases rapidly increase in our community, even in this early stages of the year. We have several faculty and staff whose children have now had to move to online learning. We are holding them in the light. It is such a challenge. Cases at Earlham remain low and comparable to last year's numbers at this time. I think we have 6 students in isolation, none in quarantine, but we must remain diligent so that we can stay the course. As we learn of new cases on campus, which so far have been exclusively reported by students, we're reminded that this year's version of the virus is more contagious and still capable of breaking through the safeguards afforded by the vaccine. So stay diligent, please. Although having said that, and I'll also tell you my 81-year-old mother, in spite of being fully vaccinated, had a breakthrough infection. And it is obviously much less serious, but it's still miserable. So please, everyone, be as careful as you can. I'm just grateful that she was vaccinated so that she did not end up hospitalized or worse. One aspect of our COVID planning has involved significantly rethinking the academic calendar. If you were part of a faculty meeting this week, you know a change to that schedule is coming. Beginning with this spring term, we will return to the typical Earlham 15-week semester. It's a change that has been under discussion for some time, and on Wednesday, it was approved through consensus of the entire faculty. So now the planning begins. Very grateful for our new registrar, Corinne Deibel, and her crack team of registrars for getting us set now that that's been decided by the faculty. Thank you to everyone who participated in faculty meeting this week and engaged in the important conversations that are before our community at this time. I also wanted to thank Chris Little, second time I'm mentioning him, leader, besides being head of public safety, he's also leader of the college's crisis management team, who I like to say is the longest standing crisis management team in the history of the world. I want to thank Chris, to thank that crisis management team and everyone else that's working so hard to keep our community safe and informed about the situation existing both on and off campus. Because remember, we're at 95% on the Earlham campus, but off campus in Richmond and Wayne County, we're closer to 40%. So we all need to be very careful. As college-sponsored travel has been allowed to resume this summer, I do have a number of exciting stories to share from the past few months. Biology professors Jamie Kuhn and Wendy Torrey are working with 6 students on campus this fall to analyze data they collected over the summer in southern Iowa, which is home to some of the last remaining tallgrass prairies in the United States. As someone who worked with prairies earlier in her career, pre-administration. If you ever get a chance to go see a Tallgrass Prairie, highly recommend it. And maybe we'll get to see some slideshows or photos from Jamie and Wendy and their students. Looking forward to it. The professors say the project could offer clues for how to strengthen existing grasslands and rebuild habitats closer to Earlham. It's an important project that could help restore populations of grassland birds, which are among the fastest declining avian groups in the country. And you probably know the reason they're declining rapidly is grasslands turn into really highly productive farmland, which is not as supportive of those grassland birds. So in addition to this research, the Department of Biology is partnering with the Environmental Leadership Program in an effort to expand prairie lands on campus and enrich the biodiversity of our campus. Very excited to start putting in prairie here. I think that'll really have a big impact on all of us. So this project and so many others taking place on campus right now are wonderful extensions of our For Good brand and truly reflect our commitment to making the world a better place. I'm excited to watch this great initiative move forward. And if you want to learn more, visit Earlham's website for story, photos, and video of the research site in Iowa and the research they're doing. So even though the undergraduate college has been in session for 3 weeks, the Earlham School of Religion's academic year only officially started yesterday. Well, I always feel weird saying that because they have a very demanding August intensive session. So, so those faculty have already been working very, very hard, and students. I want to wish ESR faculty and students the best of luck as they embark on a new year. I also want to send thanks to ESR employees and students for, we don't have all the documentation, but my understanding is that they have reached 100% compliance on being vaccinated. So that is awesome. And thank you, ESR. Such an important part of our community. One more little bit of good news before I close out this week's update. Even though the academic year has only just begun, the Office of Admissions is reporting significant activity from prospective students. We've had nearly 120 visitors to campus since the middle of July, which is maybe a record. Stay tuned for ways you can help us recruit the class of 2026. And as of Monday, we already had 38 new applications from that class of 2026 submitted for consideration. Common App opened on August 1st. That's how our many applications come in to us. Since August 1st, we've already had 38 new applicants. That's pretty amazing. So just like our community's response to the pandemic, recruiting students requires all of us working together. I know you've all done so much in the middle of a very challenging year, and I appreciate it and thank all of you. And that is it for this week's update. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Please keep making the world a better place. And remember, the world needs Earlham, and it needs Earlhamites now more than it ever has. Bye-bye.